Hello, welcome back to another video. Today I will be talking about what you will need or want for making baits. The video is going to be pretty straightforward. I'm just going to be talking about what I find the most important, how much it's going to cost, where you can find it. And most of it's going to be on Amazon. But I just want to inform you on how everything can cost and how easy it is you can get into this. Like I said on my channel, I want mostly to inform about making baits, and it's a very fun hobby, and I think everyone should know about it and have fun with it, you know? So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so on my very amazing list that I spent almost an hour on, first off, we're going to be pretty much going the necessary things, like what dye you need, what formula to make the baits, you know, anything, the colors, glitter. I will be going also over microwave. Even though I got all Facebook Marketplace, I think that there's cheaper ones like in Walmart or maybe even Amazon. I don't know. I just looked online. So yeah, that's going to be the first part of the video. First things first, Plastisol dye. This one, it is made from the Golden Grub Lure Company. I will be posting pictures right here. They should be right here. On where you can find them on Amazon, what it looks like, you know, and that's for everything on the list. That's not just for the dye. But from what I saw, the dye is pretty much what you drip into. It's like food color dye, but for specifically plastic baits. So it'll be you squeeze drops, and for 10 for 10 colors, it is $49.95. And to be honest, this is going to be pretty much the most expensive thing on the list. If not, it's going to be the molds and the actual formula to make the baits. Okay, so next up, we have the salt formula, which I was just talking about. This was made by Bait Plastics LLC. Again, the picture will be up on the screen shortly, or it's probably already on. I don't know. I'm going to edit it then. It is $46.98 for only 1 gallon, and I have an example right here of what 1 gallon is. So this is around 1 gallon right here. As you can tell, Bait Plastics LLC right here. This is a gallon. This will last you probably a long time. It lasted me around a month, but then again, I haven't made a lot of baits in a while. So yeah, that's the formula. Moving on, next thing is the glitter, which will add the sparkles and everything that you like. And I think the glitter is one of the most important things of the bait. So the maker of which I found on Amazon, it is the Golden Grub Lure Company. Again, that also made the Plastisol dye. For 6 containers, which are pretty small containers, about this big, maybe a little bigger, it is $29.95. From the ones I found, I'm pretty sure that the color, the flakes or whatever, there's multiple colors combined with each other. So it'd be like there's green, red, all of them combined together. If you keep looking on Amazon, though, you should be able to find specific glitter where it's only one color, like black or blue, silver, gold, anything like that. And the pretty much obvious thing that you need is a microwave. When I got mine on Facebook Marketplace, it was $30. It was very cheap, and it's lasted me a long time. You don't need a special microwave or anything. Any random microwave could work for this. But from what I found on Walmart and Amazon and other websites, they can range from $50 to $115. But you could probably get cheaper from Facebook Marketplace or any website where people resell them because they don't want them anymore. This one, a heat gun, what I mean by that is it measures temperature. It's not like you actually heat things up. I found one on Amazon by Suncoda, something like that. For one of them, it's only $10. I think this is probably the best one. I actually think you can get cheaper ones than this. I think there's ones that are for like $6 minimum. This is also really important, so you can measure the actual heat of your baits. And when I make the video of how to actually make the baits, starting from when you get the first jug, the gallon of Plastisol, you definitely need to measure temperatures. I'm going to go over all that and how to measure the temperature and what temperature everything should be so that you don't accidentally undercook or burn any of your baits. Next one, heat resistant silicone spatula. Okay, I know what this is. So when you're cooking your baits, after you take it out of the white microwave, you're going to want to mix them to get rid of all the bubbles so that bubbles don't form in your baits and cause issues to where they might not work that well or the presentation is just bad overall. So I found one on Amazon, actually 4 of them by MOACC for $18.99. I think that's pretty expensive, to be honest. I think you can probably get them cheaper somewhere else, but that's all I could find. The spatula I got it from I think I got it from Walmart. It wasn't that expensive there, so you can probably find one on it when you go into Walmart and find one for a lot cheaper. Okay, here's another really important one: is heat-resistant gloves. They're very necessary, you know, so you don't burn yourself. It is not nice to have a lot of Plastisol on your hand burning. Especially when it's 300 degrees and it's hard to get off. It is not good. So on Amazon, I found a pair for 15 bucks, and they are made by QUWIN, Qwin, something like that. The ones I found, they're actually fishing gloves I have. The ones I have, you can probably go to, for this, I went to Walmart, and they were actually like $10, and they're in the fishing section, and I've been using them to make my baits, and they work perfectly fine. Yeah, that's pretty much. Measuring cups. This is actually not that important because when you cook your baits, as long as you have a container or something you can put in the microwave and actually heat with it, you'll be fine. But the measuring cups I found were on Amazon for only $3. I don't know the sizes of them, but they're made by Pyrex and they are $26. And I'm pretty sure these ones are glass. Like, I think it's good to have measuring cups just because you can see how much Plastisol you're pouring in, and you can kind of measure how many baits you can make with that. Or if you're getting into like mass producing baits and you need a specific color, then you can also measure how much you put in there and have the right color every single time. Okay, so next thing, this is going to be very important. These are actually going to the molds which you need to make the baits. In the short term, you just want aluminum molds. And the reason why I say that is because I personally think that stone molds are one of the most overrated and not one of the worst things you can waste your money on. I think it's a waste of money, and the only reason I think that is because when you make baits with them, you have to have oil and you have to spread it on there, which takes a couple minutes. And then you have to apply that every maybe 4 or 5 injections. And if you don't do it, your molds crack. Now, it is very cheap for stone molds. It is like almost half of what it costs instead of an aluminum mold. But I also think that they don't make the baits correctly. And when I say that, I mean when you inject your plastisol, then it kind of blows up. Not literally, but like if you overshoot it just by a little bit, it'll go under the crevice of the mold where the two parts connect, and then you have to either use a razor blade or anything to cut off the excess plastisol from your baits so they actually work. But aluminum, it is very expensive, very, very expensive for aluminum molds. That is going, in my opinion, that's going to be the most expensive thing on this list. And I'm kind of being a hypocrite for saying that the dye is going to be the most expensive, but the molds are extremely expensive. So from the molds I use a 4-inch fish mold. That's all obviously aluminum, and a 4-inch worm mold. For the fish mold, it is $60. It makes 2 of them, and it makes 2 baits at a time when I say that. And it is made by Best and NG, which I think is one of the best companies. They make some top quality products. And the worm mold is $66, but you make 3 of them, and they're 4 inches. Fish is also 4-inch. I forgot to mention that, but it's very expensive, like I said. But I highly recommend spending the extra $30-40 on aluminum than stone molds. Okay, and last but not least, the injector. That is also very essential, so you can actually inject your baits into your molds. Unless you use an open mold, I forgot to mention that. If you get an open mold, they're usually aluminum. When you have the liquid plastisol in your bowl, you can just pour that into your mold and wait. But I think that just gets very messy, and it doesn't work as well. So the injector that I'm talking about, it is 8 ounce. It's an 8-ounce injector. They're also very expensive. The one I found on Amazon, the one I actually have right now, because I made sure I found this exact one, it is $50 for only one. It is very expensive. It is made by Fishform or Generic, right? Yeah, Generic. They're made by either one. I couldn't, tell because it says Fishform on the actual injector, but on the Amazon it says Generic. Anyways, it's very important to have an injector and make sure you have a right one, because there's injectors where they won't shoot right. Like, it's really hard to push down or pop up or anything like that. Or when I say pop up, I mean suck in the plastisol. So you can actually, shoot it out into your molds. Okay, so after talking about the necessary things, the next thing we're going to go to is the unnecessary things. And when I say unnecessary, I mean you don't need it to actually make baits. They're not essential. Like how I put the gloves as essential, that's so you can protect yourself. But these unnecessary items, they really don't protect you, or they don't serve a purpose, kind of. Well, they serve a purpose, obviously, because I'm put on the list, but it's not very important to anyone, is basically what I'm saying. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so the first unnecessary item I have, there's only 2 items I actually put on this list, so I probably don't even need this. It's a silicone mat. That's a mat, so obviously it's a mat. But when you put your mold, like your bowl full of plastisol down on the counter, if you suck it in with your injector, what can end up happening is it can end up dripping out your the plastic can end up dripping out your injector and getting everywhere on your table. So the silicone mat, I think I have the right one on what I'll put on the screen. But this one, if you put under your bowl and under your mold and bowl, obviously, like it's going to be big enough so you can do that. When it drips everywhere, it only gets on the mat, and it's surprising to me, but it doesn't stain your mat or anything. So when it cools down, you can just peel it off and reuse the excess Plastisol, and you can heat it up again and keep reusing it for your molds. Next thing, this one I personally don't use, but you can. Like I said, it's mostly for open molds, you know, or if you use a stone mold and you have extra Plastisol coming off from your bait, then this will be important. It's a razor knife. This is made by WorkPro, and it is, from what I found on Amazon, $12, but that's for an actual decent one. There's ones that are like really cheap, like $4 or $5 on Amazon, but they just don't look good to me. This one I found, it looks pretty good, durable. You know, it's not going to break easily. But the razor knife is just to cut off extra things. You don't actually need it for anything, in my opinion. But yeah, that's pretty much all the unnecessary items. I don't really think I can think of anything else. If I do, I'll end up putting it in the description. But I think that's it. So we're going to head up to the actual price of everything that I listed. Okay, so this is the cost for everything. It is very expensive. Very, very expensive. At least in my opinion, unless you have a lot of money, then this might not be nothing to you, I guess. But so the cost for everything that I included taxes with everything, obviously, because the government wants money because they need money, I guess. So for what I calculated, the cost for the only necessary items I listed in the first part of the video, it will be $452.48. Now, is that what I spent? How much I spent? No, I spent more than that, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, because I actually enjoy this thing, making baits. But it is very expensive. I actually have the entire container over in the corner of all my stuff. Now, you think it'd be $452, you think it'd be bigger than just a container full of stuff, but you'd be surprised. Now, the cost for both, which is necessary and unnecessary, it's not much more. It's $476.02. Like I said, you don't really need the two things I listed. You can live without them. They're not important. And I usually don't use them except the mat. I use that a lot, and I think that's really, it's not important, but it helps. It definitely makes a difference and helps a little bit better when making baits. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, it does get expensive when it comes to this hobby because there are so many molds and different websites, and you can buy stuff in from injectors, molds, Plastisol, colors, flakes, everything like that. And if you really want to get into making them to sell them, like what I'm trying to do, it's going to cost a lot in order to have everything you need in order to, you know, sell. But in my opinion, if you want to do for a hobby, I would guarantee you, I would say this is definitely worth it if you're just trying to have fun and spend the minimum you need. If you actually want to try and sell, you know, make baits to sell and make at least a profit and money, it is, I would say it's double, maybe even triple of the money that it costs for the necessary things. So, in conclusion, nothing's cheap. pretty much. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the video, and you know, like and subscribe. Maybe even comment and tell me your opinions, and if you agree with me. I hope you have a good day, and thank you for watching.